QuickBooks does an amazing job of simplifying things. From setting up a suggested chart of accounts when you first create your company file based on the type of business that you're in, to allowing you to use familiar and comfortable forms to enter what could otherwise be very complex accounting transactions. QuickBooks does it all, and this is what makes it truly amazing. But in order to have a really perfect QuickBooks experience, what you need to know is how QuickBooks manages permissions, how to set those permissions, and also how to modify preferences. It's unfortunate, but these days, hackers and thieves and other less than desirable elements of society are hard at work attempting to access information that they can use. QuickBooks is a treasure trove for these individuals. It contains personal, company, and financial information that would provide them with literally a wealth of information. You need to ensure that electronic files are properly secured to prevent unauthorized access. After all, it's not only your information that's at risk. You also are storing information of others, and much of it is considered personal and sensitive information. You have a fiduciary duty to protect that information, perhaps even more so than you have protecting your own. So, you need to protect your company's information, including things like bank accounts and credit cards, and the information of others. It is in your best interest. But do you remember that when your parents ever said they were doing something that was for your own good? And you probably remember that it usually meant they were doing or not doing something that you didn't like. Well, employees and staff do not like being restricted from things any more than you did as a kid. But it is both for their own good and yours if employees can only access financial information that they need in order to do their job. Now, it's obvious why that protects the company, but it protects the employee because if they have no access to something, it's highly unlikely they could ever be implicated if something questionable occurred with the accounting information. Now, on a more positive note, it just prevents accidental errors from being made by people who don't understand what they're doing. Now, that's nothing personal, but if someone is in sales, they probably do not have a strong accounting background, and they really could come in and do things that they shouldn't be doing that might affect literally every account and every value that we have stored in QuickBooks. So, it's not personal, it's just good business. Restricting access to QuickBooks and QuickBooks areas is really a good thing for everybody involved. What we know is that securing information protects the gateway to the data, and QuickBooks even allows you to specify specific parts of QuickBooks that users can and cannot access. But ensuring that the software behaves the way that you want is what makes it actually usable for you and your company. These options are configured through preferences. These settings are actually a combination of personal and company preferences and covers everything from accounting to the way QuickBooks behaves and prevents data entry errors. For these reasons, even though there are a lot of them, preferences are something that should be reviewed and modified so QuickBooks can perform as needed and as expected to keep your financial data safe, secure, and accurate. It really isn't something that takes time, it's an investment of time. So, with all that said, and everything that you know, what else could there possibly be? You probably realize just how much QuickBooks can do. QuickBooks does an amazing amount of personalization, including our ability to change what you see on some of the centers and home screens. You can customize everything from lists to reports to even the forms that you use as well. Then we add preferences that include settings for both how some of the accounting works as well as how the program and interface behaves. You can enable and disable features such as the use of estimates, inventory, sales tax, and payroll. You can also reduce data entry errors by simply enabling a checkbox. Many of these are configured when you first create the company file, based on QuickBooks' best guesses, or perhaps some of the questions that you answered, like, do you have employees? Don't worry though, most of them can also be enabled or disabled at any time. So after you use QuickBooks for a while, or as you find things you need or that annoy you as you work, you can go in and make those changes. Most preferences can be changed at any time, but do know that there are just a few that cannot be changed once they have been enabled. One example of that is the use of multiple currencies. For that reason, it's always a good idea to back up your company file before making significant preferences changes, just in case you decide whatever it was that you did was not such a good idea. If you're not sure what a setting does, then you probably shouldn't be changing it. In the end, what's also important to remember with everything we do in QuickBooks is to get professional advice concerning any accounting modifications. Although you know a lot about QuickBooks, Never feel bad about asking for some professional assistance and getting your books set up correctly. It's a good investment and gives you peace of mind as well. There is a lot you can do as far as configuring QuickBooks yourself. Many options will not affect your bookkeeping at all, but are more preferences to how the interface looks or behaves. Those you can play with until you get it the way that you want, and it's something that you can do little bits and pieces at a time. It's not that critical. It's just comforting to know that QuickBooks provides simple, straightforward tools that you can use to control your preferences and the security of your QuickBooks data to meet your and your company's unique needs.